end of 1999, Kid Rock's album Devil Without a Cause was one of the biggest hits in music history. Suddenly, after nearly a decade of constant struggle, Kid Rock was a platinum recording artist.
It felt great. I mean, the first ad we took out, when we hit 1 million records, we put a middle finger up and put 6 zeros behind it.
And that was sort of the ultimate to the whole music industry.
Once people saw it, they couldn't stop it from selling. It hit 4 million, went to 5, went to 6, went to 7, went to 8. It wouldn't stop. Then we were just like, yeehaw. Yeehaw, let's rock.
Devil would go on to sell 11 million albums, and in its aftermath, Rock hit the road. In just a few short months, he had gone from small club gigs to a nationwide, sold-out arena tour that saw him play to more than 1 million fans.
It was good to see him finally reap the rewards of all the hard work. And I know what it meant to him, too, as far as, being able to look in my dad's eyes and go, see, look what I did with myself,
Hoping to capitalize on his success, Rock released his 5th album in May of 2000, a remixing of failed tracks on records past. It was aptly titled The History of Rock.
I think he really wanted to tell people, there is a history of Kid Rock. I'm not some new arrival. I've been pounding at this for a long time.
It's like if people are that interested, here's the old, check it out.
And if you be good to me, I'll yodel in your valley.
So, yeah, they weren't failed tracks anymore.
The album peaked at number 2 on the charts, eventually selling 3 million copies. Nearly destitute 2 years before, Rock was rolling in riches.
Got more money, I got a better car, I got a bigger house, got more friends, got an airplane. You pay me to drink beer. I used to list that on my kids' emergency health card at school. Occupation, pro beer drinker.
But Rock's amazing ride was about to take a dramatic turn. In October 2000, Kid and his cohorts were in the studio recording a song for a movie soundtrack when Joe C. began to struggle at the mic.
I'll never forget, we were in the studio recording it, and he could say a line and he'd be out of breath. I didn't know to make anything of it,
Everybody knew Joe, his condition, I guess, everybody knew there was something wrong with him, but nobody really expected there to be a timeline on it.
With barely any warning, Joe's affliction with celiac disease had taken a dramatic turn for the worse. And on November 16th, his brave fight came to a sudden end. Joe was only 26 when he died.
It was tough. I remember getting a phone call from his best friend, and I picked up the phone, and he said, yeah, Billy Joey died. And I was like, I didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense. We never talked about him dying. And I called my brother, and I said, I got some bad news, man. Joey's gone.
My brother called me just crying, and he said, Josie passed away, and, we just cried. Cried for days.
Although only 3'9", Joe C. was a commanding presence. And during their time together, he and Kid Rock forged a bond that would survive forever.
Every now and then in your life, you're touched by a special person. Someone that's not a family member, someone that comes into your life and just immediately fits in.
He was just beautiful in every way, shape, or form. He was beautiful.
His dad told me one time, he said, I want to thank you. He's like, Joey always kind of kept here in Taylor, Michigan. He never ventured out. He's never been anywhere, and I think he was always scared to go places. I look back at it now, and I'm happy. I'm happy that he got to see so much, live such a full life. I see the way a lot of people live, and frankly, he lived a lot fuller than most people will if they lived to be 100.
Just months after Rock lost one of his closest friends, he would find the girl of his dreams. In April of 2001, he flew to New York to perform with Aretha Franklin and ended up meeting Baywatch babe Pamela Anderson.
He wound up sitting at a table with her, and it was obvious what was going on there. There was just this crazy electricity between them.
She climbed over the table, got in there, sat at the table, and then that was it. Bingo, Jed's a millionaire.
I'm hanging with him.
It was a paparazzi's dream. A wild music man from the Motor City hooked up with one of Hollywood's hottest starlets.
If you were in that trade and you weren't on that story, you weren't doing your job.
You know, he started dating Pamela Anderson, and I think there was a real, at the bottom of it, there was a real relationship there, and they made for a great couple.
By the time he entered the studio to record his sixth album, Cocky, in March of 2001, Rock was determined not to fall back on old formulas.
I've sold too many records for anyone out there to like me anymore. It's just gone too far at this point, you know. 32 million records in 2 years. People are just waiting to take shots at me, so I'm just gonna make a completely different record before I right in the face anyway. I wanted to be conscious of not getting locked into the rap rock thing. And I always loved a lot of different music, blues music and country music.
Dead set on pushing the musical envelope, Rock recorded Picture, a country duet with Sheryl Crow. It was completely different from anything he'd done before.
I saw you yesterday with an old friend.
It was the same old same, how have you been?
Since you've been gone, my world's been dark and gray.
People don't cross from sort of rock, rap to country. It's not heard of, it's not done, it never doesn't happen.
Record companies are always wary when an artist who is successful starts to change the direction of his music.
I found your picture, babe. I swear it changed my way.
Cocky was released in November of 2001, and after a slow start, Picture proved perfect for Kid Rock. When the country classic was released as a single, it pushed the album to multi-platinum status in a matter of weeks.
It was great to make a transition, to watch these other bands kind of stay here and keep moving up musically, writing better songs, you know, making better music, getting it to more people.
I just called to say I love you. Come back home.
Next, Kid Rock comes full circle with his father.
Man, you live and you learn. You get older, and me and my dad are good friends now.
When Behind the Music continues.